As long as I can remember, I've always loved gaming on PCs. I've always just loved the idea of getting high frame rates at high settings, but not without a budget, not without not going crazy on how much I spend on a PC. And that's where I think now comes a good time to discuss a budget gaming PC. Now, I say budget very loosely. The budget that I'm working with today is $1,000, which I know is kind of a lot for most people. Most people hear the term 1,000 and they immediately think a massive number. And for the gaming PC world, it's sort of not really the case. In this realm of PC gaming, in the PC master race, $1,000 is regarded as mid-range, sort of not quite mainstream, but more of like a starter price than anything. And you might think that's kind of ludicrous because people are out here spending $500 on consoles and they're getting perfectly fine gaming experiences at 60 FPS while gaming at what seem to be like on high settings if you compare it to a PC game or the same game on PC. So that might seem a little bit confusing as to why to go PC. Freedom you get when going with a PC over a console is crazy, and a lot of people have come to me, like my one friend, we'll call him Austin for now, and he didn't really have a console. I don't remember if he did or not, but ever since he started gaming on PC, which was back in May, which I helped him build, by the way, Austin, you're welcome. He said the experience is kind of unlike anything he's ever done in terms of gaming. And I mean, that kind of says a lot. Like, even though he's never really experienced like console gaming or PC gaming, he's always sort of like he's always sort of tested the waters, so to speak. He has a laptop, or he used to use a laptop which he used to play like Valorant and Tabs on, and these super easy to run games that could just run on literally a Chromebook and you would still be getting decent frame rates. So the upgrade that he went with, I mean, now he's rocking like something like a Ryzen 5 3600. I mean, for you PC nerds out there like me, you know what I'm talking about. And a GTX 580, yep, old GPU, pretty bottlenecky for a 3600, but it works for him. He plays Valorant. That's it. So I mean, if he says that, and he's been gaming on a laptop, you know, that kind of shows the impact that going with an actual PC can make on one's gaming experience. It's not life-changing by any means. Don't expect to get a PC and say, oh, mom and dad, you know, you need to spend $3 grand on this PC and my grades will go up. You know, you can't say that. That's just unrealistic. It's gonna get you higher frame rates, but it's not gonna change your life. It's not gonna transform you from your inner core. You know, you're gonna have to do that yourself. The PC is just there to help you. So $1,000 is the budget that I'm working with today. If that's around your budget, then I'm glad that it is, because you definitely clicked on the right video. But if you still think that's a little bit expensive, I get it. You know, $1,000, kind of a lot of money, even for a PC in 2022. So it's pretty much like a quick little rundown of what the idea of this video is. So yeah, if you find it helpful, then tell me, because I like making these parts lists. Let's get into actually configuring this system. Now, starting off with the CPU here, we have the Intel Core i3-10100F. Now, you might be thinking, $1,000 PC, why are we going i5? Well, that's the thing. We don't really have to. The Core i3-10100F, you hear i3 and you think weak. Probably, most likely. You probably think weak. Unless you've like first-hand experienced the 10100F in gaming, then you probably don't really know all that much about how it performs. Well, let me put it this way. It kind of smokes the Ryzen 3 3100. It even gives the 3600 a run for its money in certain titles. Obviously, Ryzen has its edge in other games like Death Stranding and Red Dead Redemption 2 in some cases. Whereas with this, it kind of reverses that. Since Intel's 10th gen architecture is newer than Ryzen's 3rd gen architecture, it makes quite a difference, and you'll see in most games, especially when you compare this to the direct competitor, which is the 3100. Also, if you look at the Ryzen 5 or Ryzen 3 3100 prices, you're going to notice that it is significantly more expensive than this. Look at this, dirt cheap, 84 bucks. You know how much the 3100 is going for? About 200 bucks used, and that's because you can't really find them anywhere unless you look on eBay or AliExpress, which I do not recommend nearly as much as Amazon. And if you look here, it ships from Amazon and is sold by whatever Sales for You is, but I trust that it is a pretty reliable organization considering that this product has over 1,000 ratings. And if you just look at the clock speeds here, you can see just a little bit of what this processor is really capable of. Look with a 3.6 gigahertz base clock speed, which is the same as my 9900K, and a 4.3 gigahertz max turbo frequency, which is fantastic. It also comes included with its stock cooler. Even though it's not fantastic, it is a huge improvement over previous generations, specifically Coffee Lake and before. So as for processors, we're going to go with this one. Now here we are for the motherboard, and the one that I've picked out for today is the Asus Prime H510MA. Now you might be thinking, why not go for H410? It is bound to be cheaper since it is an older platform and it doesn't support 11th gen, or at least most of them don't. So why go H510? Well, it's kind of self-explanatory in the sense that I'm using a PCIe Gen 4 graphics card, or at least planning to. This motherboard supports PCIe Gen 4, and even though the CPU may not, just having that support already implanted on the board is good enough for a graphics card. Also, if we take a good look here at the I/O in the back, you can see it's a little bit more complex than other H410s that I've seen. For instance, most of them do not come with DVI ports. Not that I really expect anyone to use that since, you know, it's the 21st century, but it's there in case you need it. You also have DisplayPort and HDMI on the back. And even though we don't have integrated graphics on our CPU, in case you decide to switch this out with one that does have one, so maybe a 10100 9F, then you have those ports there in case your graphics card somehow fails. You also have 6 USB ports. You have 2 USB 3.2s, and I don't know about the rest. I'm not really good with USBs. I can only really tell by the color. If it's blue, it's most likely USB 3. Actually, it's always going to be USB 3. As for the blacks, I typically see them as USB 2s, but some of them are not. I know that. I don't really know how to tell. If you guys do, please let me know. I would love to know. You also have Ethernet back here, as pretty much all boards mandate. And you also have these. I don't know what they're called. All I know is they're useless. And then you also have your audio jacks for your headphones, your mic, all that good stuff. So pretty good board, 86 bucks. Very basic, only 2 DIMM slots and all that. But you do get VRM heatsinks up here and a heatsink over there for your M.2 SSD, and an 8-pin instead of a 4-pin, which is probably what you're going to see on H410 or most other motherboards in this category. So that's why I picked this. It also has Aura Sync support, so yeah. H510MA, that's the board we're going with. Now memory can be a little bit of a tricky one for you guys. Now for this, I think 16 gigs, 3200 megahertz is perfect. And 3200 megahertz is a little bit overkill for 10th gen, especially for a low-end one like this, which only has an i3 and a non-K-SKU CPU. But it still makes a difference. You might not think so. You might think going 2666 is still fine for an Intel processor. Trust me, it's not. 10th gen supports up to 2933, and that's basically the default or the minimum that you should have when going 10th gen. But as uncommon as 2933 is, you could obviously bump that up to 3000, but why not go 3200? Besides, the difference in price between a 3200 megahertz kit and a 3000 megahertz kit is way too small to make a difference in your budget, or way too small to like decide whether you should go 3000 megahertz over 3200. Also, this kit from XPG is proven fantastic. I have a kit of this in the PC back there. It's only 2666, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but it is paired with a Ryzen processor. But I bought it with a pre-built combo, so I'm not really that surprised. But this RAM has proven really good. Whenever I touch the DIMMs, like the little heat spreaders on top of it, like the black stuff that you can see here. I mean, the whole thing's black, but you know where the fins are, you can see that. It's really just warm. It's not even hot. Like in the Alienware that I had before, I had these HyperX, like freaking, it was the same speed, and the heat spreaders were fine, but they were way hotter than these XPGs, and they're significantly more expensive if you look at the prices of them. So, I mean, also this 58 bucks for 16 gigs is pretty good in this day and age where everything is inflated. So I'm not really complaining with this. Also, you have decent CAS latencies, 16. It's not anything super special. It's not like a premium kit that has a 12 CAS latency. Basically what that means is like how fast or how long it takes for the memory to I guess in layman's terms, respond or like spool up so they can perform at its full potential. So it's pretty good. It's obviously not perfect. You could find more premium kits than this, but for the budget we're working with, I think there really isn't much better that you could go for in terms of value. So that's why I'm going with this one over some other probably more prestigious kits of RAM out there. Now moving on to the storage. As you can see here, we have the XPG Atom 30. Now this is a drive that I actually haven't seen. I think it's new, but I don't know why it would be since it's a Gen 3 and not Gen 4. It only has 20 ratings, but I mean, it's an XPG drive, and typically these are really good value. And I found this one here for $47.99. So 500 gigs is going to be pretty good to start with. Obviously not enough for like your bigger games like Warzone and Vanguard and Apex and you know what I mean, like Halo Infinite. You're not going to want that on this thing for sure. Read and write speeds are pretty respectable, 2500 megabyte per second reads and 2000 megabyte per second writes. Performance may vary on the SSD capacity, and that's kind of normal. It says it down here. Typically the higher storage, like the higher performance, just because you have more bandwidth. So going 2 terabyte here, I mean, it's unavailable, but hey, it's gonna get you the best performance. And I mean, good lord, none of these are available. But 500 gigs is gonna be fine. I mean, that's typical of a mid-range gaming PC anyway. You're not gonna have too much storage. You could always go for like a 1 terabyte hard drive and like a 120 gig or 240 gig SSD, but I mean, what's the point if you have 500 gigs of this storage, and you can always add an extra hard drive later down the line. That's for not much more money. So I think this is what we're gonna go with for this PC. Shouldn't bottleneck anything since it's a fairly not too high-end system, so this is gonna be good for this one. Now, next thing I want to talk about is the case. Now, the case that I chose here is the Aerocool Scar, and you can see this is a very minimalistic design, and that's kind of the thing I'm going with this PC. Is it's a minimalistic sort of build that still, it still implies the, you know, advancedness of a higher end system. What you will see, I'm nowhere near done with this yet. The Aerocool Scar, not great for airflow. As you can see, pretty much the only venting is on the sides of this thing and a little bit on the top. You can see a little bit better in this picture here. It kind of goes all the way around, so it can suck in air from the side and also from the top. So with this, you can like put a radiator at the top or just fans, and it can suck in air, enough air to cool the components inside. And from the sides, it's nothing great. It's kind of like NZXT kind of airflow we're talking, which isn't awful. It's not optimal, but for a computer like this where you're not getting super hot parts, you should be okay. And you also get some decent looks on that note as well. Now, as for the power supply, now you could go with a 550 watt for the unit that I have in mind, or for the whole overall system that I have in mind, but I think 650 is much better, and here's why. For a power supply like this from a reputable brand like Ares Game, 43 bucks is just too good an offer to pass up. You can see like the different connectors here. You have two 8-pin power connectors. That's for the graphics card, of course. You have some SATAs. You have, I don't know what FVD is. It looks like it's just, oh, it says Molex, but I don't know what that is, but you get it anyways. SATA, of course, for your drives, and the 24-pin for your motherboard. Look at that, 85% efficiency. Like, it's 80 plus bronze. Alright, gold is just 90%. That's what I know. So there's really no point in spending extra for bronze or for gold. And for a system like this, especially, that's not going to have super power hungry parts in it. So this is the one I'm going to choose. Alright, and talk about the part we've all been waiting for, the graphics card. Now, with the recent fall in GPU prices, it's been, I mean, it was small, and it is currently still falling, I think, a little bit. But with the recent fall in GPU prices, we've seen some excellent price drops, especially for lower, or not lower end cards, but more mid-range cards like this. The 3060's MSRP is, I want to say 300 bucks or 350. I don't remember exactly what it was. I'm leaning more towards 300, but I mean, this is still way above MSRP, but it's so much better than what it was before. The 3060 has about as many CUDA cores as an RTX. I want to say a 2080 Ti. I don't know if it's that many, but it's really high. I think it's upwards of around 4,000 CUDA cores. So this thing means business. It also supports up to 8K resolution. I don't recommend gaming at that, not even slightly. I mean, 12 gigs of GDDR6, it's technically enough for most titles. I mean, even at 8K, but I think for most games you're going to be sticking to 1440p, if not 1080p. On games like Halo Infinite, Battlefield 2042, 1440p is kind of your max. You're not going to want to go any higher than that. But on games like Fortnite, you know, those DLSS titles, or even those lower end sort of esports titles like Valorant, CSGO, Splitgate, 4K gaming is very possible with something like a 3060. And even one like this, which is overclocked, is going to get you higher. It's going to get you the higher frames. And with 12 gigs of RAM, I mean, it's not GDDR6X. But then again, you don't really need, I mean, it is a lot faster to be honest, but the 3060 Ti still doesn't have that. The lowest end card you can get GDDR6X is the 3070 Ti, and the lowest you can find those for right now is about $1,000. So unless you want to make this more of a $1,300 or $1,400 PC, then don't go for that. This is definitely going to do you just fine for the games that people who are looking to buy a 3060 want to play. So this is the one that I'm going to pick for the system. Guys, look at this price tag. Look at this price tag. $1,002.94, baby. We did it. All right, we configured a gaming PC with a 3060 for $1,000. Here, you know what? I'll just do this. I'll do this instead. We'll get rid of the 650. We'll chuck this in instead, and bam, you're below your budget. All right, you happy? $995.94. Okay, look, if you want to go 650, go for it. If you think you're gonna make an upgrade in the next few months, go 650. You're $2 over budget. All right, good freaking job. But with this, it's 600 watts, still gonna be plenty. I mean, you could throw in a 3070 in this if you want. All right, at 600 watts, still gonna be fine. You know, sort of. Probably not. You're probably gonna want to go 650 for that. But this right here, this price, it's unbeatable. All right, you're not gonna find any PC with the 3060 for $995. All right, that's just not gonna happen. Look anywhere. Look at any system integrator on the internet. iBuyPower, CyberPower, Alienware. Don't get me started on them. I had one before. Look, you're not going to find anything like this from a pre-built manufacturer. The only way you can get this is if you build it yourself. Okay? Unless of course, you come to me with your credit card and you say, here's $1,000, build me this thing. I mean, of course, I'm going to charge tax because everything here is charged tax. You do that. Like, I'm not complaining. You do that, I'll charge a flat $50 build fee. I'm gonna be cool about it. I'm not, you know, your digital storms, your reduxes offer $75, $100 build fees. All right, I'm Overlord. Okay, I offer you $50 build fees. Good deals. All right, so consider it, of course. Look, if any of you actually took that seriously, these prices aren't gonna last forever. So I mean, you could come to me with a check, and I'd be more than happy to build this for you, like for real. But I mean, don't think this is gonna last forever, because it's not. You know, like we might be able to squeeze in similar performance if we go for like a 6600, but it's not the same. I mean, the 3060 has DLSS, and the ray tracing is just so much better, and this one's overclocked and has a way overbuilt cooler. So, I mean, you guys, I got you. Want me to build you this? I got you. I very much appreciate you guys taking your time out to watch this video. I know not really many of you are probably looking for a $1,000 gaming PC, but for those of you who are, I mean, I hope I helped. And if I did, make sure to leave a like just so I know, and subscribe, because I could use subscribers and I don't have a job. I would love subscribers. Please subscribe. I'm sorry for filming like in this black darkness in the back that you see. It is 9:47 right now, and because of the time change, I just haven't been able to get around, you know, my normal schedule. Not that I have one on YouTube or anything, but it's been fun. I'm trying to stay consistent with my uploads, or a little bit more consistent, because my last one was just I mean, a few days ago, maybe a little over a week ago, right now. And it's, it's kind of hard to work around the schedule with school and commitments and other stuff. Yeah, it's a vibe, bro. But yeah, again, if I helped you with this, or if you want to see more parts lists, let me know. Like, give me a budget, give me any budget, and I'll show you that I can build, or I can not really build, but I can configure a PC using Amazon.com and find you the correct parts for your budget. All right, guaranteed. Just anything. I mean, it could be, okay, maybe not $100, but I could use eBay for that. I could use eBay and Amazon. All right, give me any budget, and I'll use eBay and Amazon to prove you that you can build a gaming PC for pretty much any budget imaginable. So that's going to be about it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. Yeah, leave a like, subscribe, make good choices. Yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Until we meet again.